Alright, well, it cut me off there, it did, I suppose, because I wasn't handling the camera properly. It said, screw you. You're not going to handle the camera at all if you don't handle it properly. There you go, my friend. Anyway, well, as I was saying, though, the neighbors there, they bring me, they bring me a really nice dinner. Oftentimes when they go to these things, you get a meal and you get a dessert. Usually it's like strawberry rhubarb pie or something like that. Anyway, they're going to bring me a really nice a dinner tonight, so that's going to be really nice. I'm not sure what it will be, but there's Rocky having some dinner. I'm not sure what it'll be, but it'll be a nice dinner. I got to get these donuts into a ant-proof container so that I don't lose them. I do. I got these at the Metro store. I got a nice loaf of bread at the Metro store too. It's nice and soft. Ooh, it's nice. Small French bread. $1.39. Yeah, that's beautiful stuff. Anyway, so that's pretty nice anyway, that I'll get to have a nice dinner tonight. I look forward to that. There's my water. It is. All right. Holy smokes, man. Anyway, and the man that I did work for this week, he gave those people, because he's friends of theirs. I've worked for those people too. And they recommended me to this upper guy that I was working for this week that has beautiful gardens at his house. And I've been working getting them all weeded and getting the soil turned over and stuff. And anyway, that man saw the man from the people over here, the neighbors, and this week, and he left a thing of oatmeal raisin cookies for me. So they're going to bring those over when they bring my meal. So yeah, it's kind of nice anyway. They're very happy with my work. Everybody I work for seems to be very happy with my work, which makes me feel pretty good. I work hard and I work fast. I get a lot done. And like the guy I was working for this week said, he said, I don't have to worry. I can just leave you to do a job and I know you'll do the job, and stuff like that. I don't have to keep coming checking up on you to make sure you're doing something. And he said, so he likes that anyway, and he finds that I do a decent job. So that's good anyway. That's what I want. I want to get a good reputation for the work I do. And, basically my idea is, I'm lacking in certain ways for sure. However, my idea about the whole thing is basically I want to be known as punctual, honest, and hardworking. If you get me to come and work on your property, I'm going to show up when I'm supposed to show up. I'm going to always be honest in my dealings with you. I'm not going to try to cheat you. I'm not going to be off sleeping somewhere when I'm supposed to be working or playing on my phone or whatever. I'm actually going to be working. And also, and I'm not going to be there, and I'm going to treat your property with respect. And I'm not there casing the joint so I can come back and rob it later or anything like that, And unfortunately, those are all issues these days that people hiring guys to do the kind of work I do often come up against. So I figure if I can just use my strengths, and my strengths really are that I'm honest and I'm punctual and I'm hardworking, build on your strengths, Those are my strengths. I have weaknesses for sure. Not everything is great, but I find that I'm actually reasonably good at this kind of work and I enjoy it. I get a lot of satisfaction from it. partially because it's just at the end of the day, when you see what you've accomplished, it's really nice. And partially because I'm helping these people to stay in their homes a little longer, and to maintain their property in the way they want to maintain it too, so that they're not ashamed of how their property looks. A lot of older people are very particular about the appearance of things, and really about keeping things up to a certain standard. And it's hard on them when they get physically unable to do that anymore. And there's a lot of older people around here who have the money to hire somebody to do the work. But the issue is finding somebody who will do the work and who they can trust, who they can actually have come to their property and do the work, and they don't have to have any worries about that person, that person isn't there doing things they shouldn't be doing or whatever, and somebody they can rely on, somebody they know that if they make an appointment with that person and say, okay, can you come at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning? And the guy says, oh yeah, I'll be there. They need to know that the guy's going to be there. He's going to be ready to work, and he's going to work. They're not going to have to constantly be riding him, not constantly going and checking on him to make sure he's actually doing the job. And so, anyway, those are the things I intend to capitalize on. And for me, it's not a big deal because that's just the way I am. Those are just attributes that I have naturally. Not that I'm trying to blow myself up into some big thing or whatever, or to say that I'm better than other people or anything like that. But what's happened in this society is there's an awful lot of drug addiction and other issues, and a lot of people have been raised these days and not in the best way. They haven't had a good work ethic instilled in them, and they haven't had honesty instilled in them. In my case, I was raised, my dad was a hard worker, and I'll tell you, if my dad had ever caught me stealing or anything like that, he'd have beat me to a bloody pulp. And that's no exaggeration. He would literally have done that. He did beat me to a bloody pulp many times for far less. So, I mean, I knew the score. I knew if I was going to be a dishonest little bastard, I was going to pay dearly for that. And so I had it right ingrained in me not to be that way, And the thing is, that pays off. It really does. It pays off in a big way. It's good for me. It works for me. It works for the people who hire me. I can come to their property and I can do whatever work they're not able to do because their body just isn't able to do it anymore because they're, in their 70s or 80s and they've got joint problems, knee problems, hip problems, so and so on. Or they just don't have the stamina they used to have or whatever. And I can get in there and do that work. And then the property looks nice, which is important to them. And they're not getting calls from the township or whatever saying you better fix this or that. You better get your ditch, all the weeds out of your ditch there, or we're going to come and do it for you and charge you a fortune and put fines against you and everything. They don't have to worry that's going to happen or that their neighbors are going to be complaining. Rocky's checking out the groceries. All that work is going to be done. And, like I say, that's these people, it's important to them. So, anyway, and I make a point that it's important to me too, that I want to do a good job. I don't want my name connected with bad work. So, at the end of the day, if they're able to look at their property and say that this looks better than it did this morning before this guy got here, then I've achieved my goal in doing the job, Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm sounding kind of egotistical, and I don't like to sound that way. I don't mean to sound that way. It's just that I'm just trying to explain that that's basically the business model. It's never going to be a huge business because it's just me, but still, it is a business of sorts, and that's my vision anyway for it. Capitalize on my strengths and be of some benefit to the people who hire me, you know, and I, buy them a few more years in their house where they want to be. If they want to be there. I mean, if they don't want to be there, they won't hire me. They'll just leave and not hire me. But if they want to be there and they're just not able to physically do certain chores anymore or whatever, well, then everybody's happy, and I like that. If I can earn some money to sustain me, and they can have a little more time in their home that they love, and have their home the way they want it, then that works for all of us. And it's not often in this life you see an arrangement that works for everybody. So even that's kind of a nice thing. Anyway, I got to put stuff away, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll see you all later. And so will Rocky. Bye for now.